there are few things that one does and it becomes part of one. We don't have to sit and close the eyes all the time. It's part of one. All the material things we work for are temporary, but we don't work for this permanent relationship that we have had for so many births.
Hello and welcome to the Modern Day Spirituality Podcast by Manav Dharam, a podcast dedicated to those in search of spiritual thoughts and insights. We'll be talking to many different people from different corners of the world, sharing their thoughts on their spiritual journeys and their insights. And today, I'm glad to say we've got Veena Vohora back on the podcast with us today. Welcome, Vinanti.
Thank you.
Welcome again, and it's great to see you. We've probably not seen you in a little while, but it's great to see you back on the podcast.
Thank you very much. It's good to be back.
And we're looking forward to delving into a few different topics today around your spiritual journey and a few other surprise pieces as well, which we'll get into detail very soon. But I think it's just good to have another introduction so everyone knows a bit, again, just about yourself. So please just introduce yourself.
Yeah, my name is Veena Vohora, and I used to live in Kenya, but now I live in London, and I've been here for a few years. I'm 77 years old and getting on a bit, but
Wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say
I
that.
think Manav Dharam helps me keep going.
Okay, great.
And I'm retired now. After having come into the understanding of the knowledge that Guru Maharajji gives, I feel quite relieved and happy to be where I am now.
Okay, great, awesome. And that's a great space to start actually, because I wanted to, obviously, like you said, you've been involved in spirituality for quite some time, and I think with Manav Dharam as well. It'd be great to understand how your sort of spiritual journey started for you.
It started with a couple of things. One was the loss of my dear sister, who was a great friend and companion. Mm-hmm. We got along well and we did a lot of things together. And suddenly she met with a car accident and of course she passed away. And that loss was quite enormous for me because we had been together for quite a few years and did lots of things together. My mother was very devastated with it, and when I would go and see her, she just wouldn't come into terms with it and couldn't understand why she was being treated like that. Mm-hmm. And at the same time, my husband also underwent a bomb blast experience. And then I was sitting at home one day and thinking, I can't help my mother. And this thing has happened. Now, what's wrong? What's happening in my life? Where is this God? We have not done anything wrong. Mm-hmm. Why are we undergoing such an experience? So I was questioning, what is this higher self and what is this God? Why does he do things like that? Yeah. And I was sitting there and thinking about it, and suddenly my eye went on to Granth Sahib in English, which I had never read before. So I used to go to the temples and gurdwaras and everywhere, but I would listen to the prayers there. But at home, I had never touched the Granth Sahib. But this day, I did. And
just there, that's the Granth Sahib's the Sikh text,
the
right?
Sikh Testament. Yeah. And so I just opened the Granth Sahib, and the first line that came there, it said, you need a guru. And I looked around and thought, here in Nairobi, where will I find a guru?
Mm-hmm. And that's a teacher, right? A spiritual teacher.
The guru is the guide that I was asked to seek for. a guide who will give one the understanding of life, understanding of who we are, and bring one to the understanding of spirituality also. So he's a guide, a teacher, somebody who enables one to come in terms with life. And so I was sitting there and thinking, where shall I go? I knew of one place, but they needed you to listen to the seminars for almost a year before they would even consider giving you any teaching and anything. So I was thinking about it all, and then suddenly I got this telephone call from one of our relatives saying that they've got a little discourse or a satsang at their house tomorrow.
Okay.
And come and listen to it. So, I said, that was good. That's good. So I said, okay, I'll go and listen to this. And I went there, and I had satsang from Saint Parvati Baiji. And of course, in that satsang, I did feel, I might get some answers here, and I might be able to help my mother. So I spent a bit of time with Saint Parvati Baiji, and we sat and chatted, and she questioned me a lot, and even I questioned her a lot. So the next day she was going to another town, and we traveled together in the car, and the whole journey she was explaining me things. And then she gave me my initiation, and which was an amazing experience. My first words came out that I was involved in Sagar's world, but I'm now involved in Mahasagar, which means the universal way of life.
Okay.
And from that day onwards, I've never looked back. I feel every day I'm learning more and more about understanding of life and spirituality. And whatever one encounters in life, you don't have any remorse towards it or any ill feelings towards anything that's happened in life. One sort of realizes there's a purpose behind every event we go through.
Yeah.
And the purpose is to come to a higher understanding of oneself, and in enabling other people to come to such understanding, people who are distressed, who are under stress for various reasons. So I feel I'm leading a much better way of life now, having come under the guidance of my guide.
Yep.
And it's given a better understanding of life, and you just grow more and more every day with it.
Okay, great. That's awesome. So, yeah, like you said, you've developed over the years, I'm guessing. And when was it that you were initially initiated or provided the techniques of meditation? I guess?
It's a few years ago. It was almost 1997.
Okay, sure. So 28 years ago, something around those lines. Okay, great.
Yeah.
And has it changed for you over that period? Like, how has that sort of shaped you in those 28 years, shall we say, as a person?
It's given so much better understanding of things that we encounter. Whatever we do, whatever one undergoes through, one doesn't just stop and be negative about it. One stops and thinks, why did this happen? Whatever one encounters, one does not think, now why did such and such person did that to me?
Yeah.
Why is this hurting us so much? Just move on. Grow in yourself in a better way of understanding of life.
Yeah. Okay.
So the growth is enormous, I think, once one comes under the guidance of the Guru.
Okay. Great. So that's great to hear that a lot of that has sort of developed for you over those 28 years.
Yes.
And leading on to that, I think, first of all, a bit of a congratulations is in order, because I know you've actually been able to, you've just released a book, which is called Walking into Happiness. And it's a great gift to see. I think you're probably going to explain a bit later down the line, but Manav Dharam's teachings have sort of led you towards that and being able to share your views on that. But before we just kick off into some of the questions, I think it's very pertinent timing for this sort of book, because I mean, we look at the world today and things going on. I think happiness is one thing. I mean, you click on the news every day. What happy thoughts do you really see in the news at the minute? I think it's a really pertinent timing. So I'm really glad that you've been able to create something in such a way that's been able to do that. So leading on to the book, what actually inspired you to write the book, I guess? Was there a moment? Was there something you learned or realization that set you down this path to actually create this?
Initially, our guide, Guru Maharajji, Sri Satpal Maharajji, he had asked me to write the book, and he had requested me a long time ago. And I always used to think, whenever I would sit down, I started it a few times, and I used to think, I can't write a book. I haven't got the knowledge. I haven't got the experience, and I don't think I'm capable of doing it. And I used to start, and something or the other went wrong. If I was on the computer, I would my fingers would touch something and it would disappear. So I kept thinking, I can't do it, and I'm not capable of it. And when that I was always working, that I can do it, I can't do it, I just couldn't, I didn't get it off.
Anywhere.
Yeah. But one day, I went for a walk, and there was no eye business, nothing. Whenever I used to meet Guru Maharajji, I used to feel very bad that I haven't done what he's asked me to do. And I don't know when I'll be able to do it. But he never said a word to me. He never said anything. And I used to feel very guilty about it. And one day, it was a very cold February morning. I went for a walk in the park, and the sunset was also glorious that day. And I wasn't thinking of anything. I was totally blank. And the mind started to get it. And I went home and started to write it, put my pen to paper, and that's how it happened.
Okay, great. So it's really the sort of that mindset of, I'm trying to do this, but you're trying to maybe force it at that point in time. You had to wait for the right moment for you to be able to write it in a clear fashion. I'm guessing that was probably one of the key impacts there.
Yeah, it was my mind with negativity also.
I can't do this.
I can't do it. I can't do it. And plus, I didn't think of it, that I am not the doer. The inspiration has come from Guru Maharajji, my guide. He is guiding me with everything, but I was stopping it with my negativity. Yeah. It shows how our mind is full of negativity also, and it blocks us. But one lets go of everything, and through meditation, you attach yourself to positive vibration, and that vibration lifts one up. That vibration is so important in our life. The awareness of that vibration and the experience of that vibration is the most important thing in our life, that brings in change from negativity to positive way of thinking.
And then exploring a bit of the sort of the happiness side of the book. I know in the book you've sort of shown how happiness is not just emotive side. There's almost a way of living. How would you describe that in terms of spirituality?
It's when one comes into meditation, it becomes part of. The awareness of our self becomes greater, and whatever one is doing, that awareness is there all the time with one. And there are lots of things like the flow of celestial music is happening. One is tuned to that and one is listening. One can be doing anything and you're still tuned to that music.
Yep.
And the flow of energy just happens and one gets one's chores done through the day without getting worked up about it,
Yep.
without feeling the tension about things. One just gets on with things and just accomplishes whatever one wants to for the day, I think.
I've also noticed that when I connect to spirituality, I think happiness becomes a bit more. I wouldn't say that it just happens. I think like we said, when you're connected to spirituality, the positive mindset is there a lot more, and in that sense, I think it helps for you to then move to that happy state a lot more, because you've got the ability to, in any scenario, keep the positive mindset there. Therefore, I'm not saying every scenario you can turn it into a happy scenario, but it just helps you to put that spin on things, right?
Yeah.
And make sure that it's not going to bring you down in the dumps, I guess, in that sense.
Yeah, because what happens is when one meditates and, your energy level is more positive, whatever one does for the day, whatever one encounters, one does it in a very calm, serene way. And it all works out. You feel quite contented with it all at the end of the day, that this is what I had to do, and it all worked out nicely. And with that contentment, there's satisfaction also. And one is not thinking, oh, I should have done that or not. You have done it with your mindset at 100% effort.
Yeah.
So that's, at the end of the day, you're satisfied with what you've done. There are no questions of regrets or anything. So whatever happens, it's all for the better, and it always works out positively.
It's great trying to keep that mindset. Sometimes it's hard to keep that mindset, but I think that's one thing we strive for, right? And then some of the themes I saw looking in the book, you talked about, I think, companionship. What role do relationships really play in sort of sustaining happiness?
Yeah. Like I said, I lost my father at a very young age. So most of the children are always connected to the parents and the mother and the father. So having lost him at a young age, and then having lost my sister, we were all companions, but suddenly they disappeared. And you felt, another bonding with another human being, where is it going to lead, And one thinks again, are these all temporary relationships? We are just here for a few years together. Yep. But there is one companion who doesn't leave one, who's there all the time with you. But we are not aware of him. We don't think of him. Because we haven't experienced it. We haven't experienced him in a positive way. So the companion is within us all. And the companion is there guiding us also. But we don't get in touch with him because we are not aware of it. So this human birth is such a beautiful birth. It's a time when we can come in terms with life, terms with our birth that we have got now, and understand the real purpose of this life, which is uniting with the father. We have had parents, but they were temporary relationships. We unite with our permanent father, the father where we have come from, and that gives a total new joy, because you're going back to where you have come from. You're going back to the father you have come from. And like when we are children, we have been away for the day or something, but going back home, you're thinking, oh, mom will be there, have got this, dad would be there, and you're happy about it.
Yeah.
And now we are going back to the home. That gives a totally different elation to the mind, because the mind has been searching that, and it's been looking in material world.
Yeah.
And that gives temporary joy. One day we've got a new sofa, and that's comfortable and nice. And within 2 years, I need to change my sofa. I don't think it's going to be comfortable anymore.
Yeah.
The color is gone.
Yeah.
So all those things are temporary. All the material things we work for are temporary, but we don't work for this permanent relationship that we have had for so many births. And our awareness hasn't been there. The awareness comes when one asks for it, and when questions it, and then the universe gives one the help and the assistance to reach the right guide.
And I think also, that, like you say, getting to that spiritual master or that guide who's able to show you the way is really important, right? And that's really what at Manav Dharam we are striving for, and we're trying to make sure we sort of continue on that journey, which is obviously a very difficult journey that we're all on. And I also find that, obviously, talking about companionship there as well, like when we're with like-minded people, so for example at Manav Dharam, where if we go to one of the ashrams, everyone is thinking in a very similar mindset, I think, at times, especially if you're in a spiritual discourse. That companionship was something that definitely gives you that lift, because I found it whenever I've visited India or any of the ashrams there, as soon as you come out of the ashram, you do feel so much more, there is a lightness to you, because you've been around those people who've experienced many things, who've shared their thoughts with you. And it's just it's very difficult to explain, because I think it's quite a profound feeling. But it just gives you that extra elevation and that lift to say, well, I need to continue to improve myself. And it's not about comparing, but I think it's about understanding that this journey continues. It's not a case of I've done everything, I've ticked that, done. It's a continuous, like you've said, learning process through the whole journey. Another piece that we picked out when reading your book was around service. So I think in Hindi we call it seva. How does service really connect to happiness?
Service is a great gift one receives. It's an opportunity to help our fellow beings. All our fellow beings are really brothers and sisters. We have been divided into different countries. We have been divided into different religions. But we have all come from one source, and we have to go back to that one source. And serving anybody in the humanity circle or any life circle is doing a great service, because they've all got that same soul, same energy in them. And when one does that, one is serving God. One is serving the divine power. And people need spirituality. They need to understand that we are one big brotherhood, sisterhood, and we are all part of one source. And we need to treat each and everybody, no matter how old or young or how they are, rich or poor. Every human being has to be treated with grace. We have to be aware of it. what a precious birth it is, and what's its real purpose. And I think having come into Manav Dharam, it has given me the understanding of a higher purpose in life than what I was doing previously.
If someone listening wants to take one or two small steps towards spiritual happiness, then what would you suggest from your perspective?
Well, I hope listening to us all, people, our podcasts would enable people to think about what they are doing, what's happening in their lives, and question themselves. There is more to life than what we are normally doing. And question yourselves, and the right answers will come, because the universe wants to help people. The universe wants everyone to come in terms with life and to move on into a better way of life and be happy on the planet. That's what the universe wants, to be able to make people happy. And to be happy is knowing yourself first. And knowing yourself, with that, the flow of understanding just comes. So it's a wonderful opportunity to be on the planet at the moment, because we have got a guide who is doing that. And he's not putting anybody into circles that you keep doing these rituals, you keep going round and round until you'll reach the top of the mountain. He gives a direct understanding. The day one asks for it, straight away one gets the understanding, and from that one's spirituality growth happens.
Starts, yeah.
And there's no time being wasted. So with my experience, I feel my being in Manav Dharam has done that.
And how do you think Manav Dharam has sort of, for guiding seekers, how does it lead them towards that happiness? In what way?
Listening to the discourse is one thing, and second thing is to think about it, to go through the whole satsang or bits that have touched one, to go through it, and what is the real meaning of this all? What does it, how will it help me? How will it enable me to grow? So when one spends some time thinking about it, I think then the time comes when you will get the understanding.
And I think with that understanding, it also requires that sort of dedication to the meditation side as well, not just the listening of the spiritual discourse. And as you said before, once you sort of are initiated, you'll start that journey, but it's a journey at the end of the day, so you've got to keep taking those steps forward. And I think you've mentioned many times throughout that you're learning every single day, and you've been involved for 28 years. So I think it's quite a testament to say that there's never an end point. It's always continue on that sort of life cycle, and you'll continue to develop as a person, right?
There are few things that one does, and it becomes part of one. We don't have to sit and close the eyes all the time. It's part of one. It's
second nature. It becomes second nature, right?
Yeah. And one just gets evolved into a person with good understanding of life. And I think that is part of our evolution and part of our growth. And we have to have that guide who is the link to leading us to the higher understanding.
Great. And that's a very pertinent point. And I think you've been able to give us lots of thoughts there. But thank you, firstly, Veena, for obviously sharing not only your book that you've been able to create, but also a lot of your thoughts from your heart, which is great to hear. And I think it's a reminder that happiness is a path we can all walk on, but together, but also through Manav Dharam. That's a guiding factor in your happiness. And I think for many people who are involved in the organisation, and for other people who want to be involved. So
it's a great organisation, because it's giving so much contentment to people who come into this understanding. And we are very thankful that without having to take any medications, like people sometimes who are afflicted by mental illness and all, they are put into medications or treatments and all those things have side effects. Their side effects can be enormous, and one is saved of everything of that nature. And because this body itself is our great divine temple, our mosque, our synagogue, we have to treat it with great care.
Yep.
And that care is necessary till our last days of life, so that we can do everything that we want to do to enable everybody else to come to this level of understanding of life and make them all be happy with it, because you know who you are. You've got that massive energy in you. Utilize it to the utmost. Do the utmost you can and make a life worthwhile living.
That's an amazing way to end this discussion, Veena. It was great to have you with us again on the Modern Day Spirituality podcast. We look forward to having you again, but please do continue to inspire us as you have been throughout this time. So thank you again.
Thank you very much, and thank you to Guru Maharajji for all the inspiration he has given me.
So we've heard about Veena's profound spiritual journey and all that she's been through, and how it's culminated in her being able to produce the book, Walking into Happiness, and how Manav Dharam has been a key anchor for her throughout her spiritual journey. If you're looking to start your spiritual journey, we do have a lot of spiritual discourses on our Manav Dharam YouTube channel, which is in the description below. And if you'd like to know more about the book, Walking into Happiness, and how to get a copy, please reach out to us on podcast@manavdharam.org for more information. Thanks again for listening, and we look forward to seeing you very soon on the next episode of the Modern Day Spirituality Podcast. Join us next Wednesday at 5 p.m. Indian Standard Time, 12:30 p.m. UK time, and 7:30 a.m. US Eastern Time for the next episode of the Modern Day Spirituality Podcast. We look forward to seeing you then.